Let's do it, bitch. Bro, we've been having brain contact, not eye contact. Damn, son. Get your ass over here, bro. Get your ass over here right now. Get your ass over here, Mr. Co-host. Bro, so we've been having brain contact, not eye contact? Bro. Woo! Let's go, guys. Oh, the happy. This is my like safe place. This is like my happy place. This is my happy place. Vibe Sesh is my happy place, guys. Yes. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Omnivore.
Omnivore, bro. Omnivore. We're all omnivores, bro. Damn.
I
Damn, bro.
that popped off, brother. Welcome,
Bro,
brother.
that popped off, bro. Bro, why do you think it popped off?
Well, you know, the resonance of relatability to it. Like, for some reason, those two terms together. I know because you got inspiration for it, and then it inspired you to talk about it. And I think your platform is probably just suited best for, like, you just finally had a name for people that like to consume your content, because now it's been just chasing your curiosities. And you're like, you don't want a box. You don't like
Yeah. Yeah.
So that gave you kind of permission to go above and beyond and left and right, up and down, like, so.
Right. I was embodying it, basically, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, like you kind of had like a little constraint of what you could maybe talk about. So you gave yourself something
But
to.
why do you think, though, like it's so hard to find omnivores? Like you even said so in one of your testimonials, you said this shouldn't be hard. You said, thank you, Bruno, for providing this space where we can have a good conversation, blah, 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 blah. But like,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
then you even said, well, it shouldn't be as hard. I remember that. And I was like, why is it so hard? Like, what is going on? Like, what factors
yeah.
needed to get back together to form and, like the origin story of the omnivore, intellectual omnivore.
Yeah, I guess when you're living in your day to day, everybody else is on survival mode, and
Oh,
right now we're
survival
able to.
mode. Benoit's gonna talk about
Our
survival mode,
nervous
bro.
systems here are chill, you know.
Woo!
Hey, I've been accepted.
Hey,
All right, you've accepted. Hey, you belong. You're wanted, and you belong. Okay, and
What's up, guys?
and you're desired, Benoit.
I'm so excited.
Okay. I learned all the lessons. It's all gonna be about being Hey, everything boils down to being wanted, desired, and the needing to belong. They're all the same thing. But we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into nervous system as well, because according to Benoit, it's not mindset. It's identity plus, I forget Benoit.
Me too. Well, we'll get into it. Dude, I do. I know nothing, by the way. Don't
You
introduce me
know
as
nothing.
someone who
Why are
knows.
you, bro? Why are you, bro? I made a video about this. Kill the Buddha. I understand, bro. I understand. But you're a wise man. I read through all your stuff, bro. You're brilliant. I'm serious. You're so fucking brilliant, Cisco. I can't wait for you, because I feel like, bro, I want to join your movement. Do you have a movement? I was starting an omnivore community, but like I feel like we can really. I feel like we're bringing people back home, Benoit. I feel like we're
Yeah, no,
bringing people.
it's interesting. It's nice to. I mean, it really happens. I saw the beginning of your guys' conversation. It really happens when it happens naturally once you really share the stuff you're actually interested in. And then it feels like it's natural because it is, but most of the time we don't do the natural thing. We're always performing something or someone, and so we get the result that comes with it, which is not what we really want to reflect. So so it kind of makes sense. And congrats on launching that community. It sounds super cool. And it looks like did you fill up the 50 spots yet or what?
I'm not sure. I don't have time to go through this. I looked at some applications. They were amazing. They were really amazing. And they took the time to write shit. That was funny. I had some funny questions as well.
Yeah,
So yeah. So I don't know. I think I have like 60 or 70, but it's going to take a lot of work because I want to, if I start this community, I want to curate it, right? Like
yeah.
to really curate for like people that have done some inner work, are open-minded, can listen, can hold paradoxes and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But so I really want to curate that. But I don't know what you think because I know you've built big communities yourself. Tell us about that.
Well, I did when I was in the real estate space. Initially, I had a request. I had a few requests to build one more recently. With I just posted a video about all the stuff that I was interested in, and a lot of people said, "Oh, where's is there a space for us to all talk about these things?" And I didn't do anything, and then I kept getting requests. So okay, I'll build it, but I don't want I don't want to be a community leader. Like if I open a space, it's because you guys like want to, talk to each other. Like I'll
Yeah.
post some stuff. Like I don't want this to become a job for me. Not in the sense that
Yes.
I don't like it, but like I was very clear
Yeah,
with
but
that, right?
if it's a community, it has to survive without the leader, right? It can't have a
Correct.
leader, right?
And so I only opened it because people were asking for a space, and I opened it and nothing happened. And so I posted a little bit, and I'm like, okay, guys, like there's no point in me keeping it. I did this because you wanted it. So I don't know. I still have, Instagram's still there. We still have great conversations in the comments and everything. So I think
Yeah,
for now that's good for me. But
bro.
maybe you have a
Maybe
different vision. So
maybe we got to combine forces, Benoit. I think we got to
yeah,
combine forces because we got the vibe samurai here. We know how to like have these conversations. And I'm excited actually. I would love to spend time building that out where I'm actually hosting a bunch of conversations, showing them the vibe samurai way, right?
yeah,
Because it is a skill, right, Cisco? Like it's learnable in terms of what to do. And so that we can have good conversations, hard conversations at some point. That's kind of the mission, right? Like I want this to be have a cultural impact and for us to be some as a group as a voting bloc actually powerful politically and culturally, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of the big vision, right? And so I want to, in order to do that, we need to have open, transparent, truthful conversations, right? And
yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think you're going to do great. You clearly have the energy and want for that. I I'll be honest, like I now live a very lazy life, but
I
it's on
know you're
purpose.
so lazy, bro. I feel like he's very lazy. I exchanged some DMs. I was like, bro, I need to do this. This is gonna tie into your story. I was like, bro, I'm talking to him, right? I need to do 3 videos per day, and I gotta do it every day, but it's not that easy. And Benoit was like, bro, you know, maybe 1 a day. I just want to chill. I don't want to do 3 a day. And I felt like, he was getting lazy in his
So
new
yeah,
second
lazy
life.
is probably a bad term, but like it's more in terms of I'm really trying to push this. Like I push these experiments to their
Mm,
limits. Like what happens if I only do what I want to do when I feel like doing it? And then
mm,
I do that for a certain period of time. Okay, what was the result? Did I actually, like, was it overall a net positive or not? And then I
mhm,
adjust and I keep making little experiments like that. So far, I've noted that, I've noticed that especially for everything that we do, like you do the same thing, right? You write and then you make videos and you probably do
mhm,
a bunch of other stuff because you're not
mhm,
lazy. But anything that is creative, like I find that there's this this window or this zone where
mm.
things just flow, whether you're writing, thinking, and it's kind of hard to like it doesn't happen on a Tuesday at 9 a.m. Like you
Yeah,
can't
what was
really
the
plan
example
for
you
it.
gave? What was the example? Picasso, right? You said he
Yeah,
didn't
right,
plan.
right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. For me, it's more like going to the bathroom for number two. Like you don't have it on your calendar. You just go when you're ready, right? Hopefully. And so, like I
Yeah.
see, like any creative work the same way, where there's this window. Sorry, there's this window where it just like it works, it flows. And so I I mostly do the stuff when I feel like doing them, specifically for writing. I
Mm,
spend a lot of my days like I'm not actually lazy. Like I'm very busy, and they're just not physically. So I spend a lot
mm,
of time thinking. Uh, but
That's true. I
but yeah,
spend a lot of time thinking myself, actually.
I
You're
just
right.
enjoy thinking because it's not just me in there. it's it's me and like different versions of me. And also I honestly spend a lot of
Answer.
time working with AI and just going deeper and deeper and deeper on certain things and like testing the limits of where I can go. And then when I
Whoa.
have something that seems like really interesting where I want to do a deep dive, then I go through the exercise of writing it
Mm-hmm.
down so that I can explain it to myself,
Mm.
because once I can explain or teach something, it means
Mm.
like I got it. Like I
Yeah.
have I got it. I can move on to the next thing. The only reason why, I mean, I just happen to post these things, but everything I do is completely selfish. If
Mm.
that makes sense. Like everything I do is for me. I just happen to publish it at some point. So
Mm.
anyways, back to the window thing. So it's hard to. There's just moments when you're just more open to that. And uh, I found that there are environments in which you can place yourself in that promotes that window, or that
Mm-hmm.
opening of that window.
Mm.
Things like, for example, in front of a fire. That's why we always seem to have like super cool deep conversations in front of a fire, or just like sitting in nature with the leaves moving. And I found out that it's this weird time where there's always something that's going on perpetually. It's non-repetitive. Like the fire is never going to be the same. It's just enough to occupy your attention, but not so
Novelty.
much so that it makes you
Novelty.
think of it. And
Hmm.
it kind of puts your brain into that state where things seem to flow a lot better.
That's novelty, you're saying. It triggers the novelty part, you're saying?
Yeah, so it's there has to be some novelty to it, but it also can't be. For example, if you scroll on your phone, it's novelty too. But the result you're getting is that
Mm.
you have to make decisions. So it's
Hmm.
novelty that does not force you to make decisions every 2 seconds. You know what I mean? So it's that sweet spot where it seems to put the brain in a certain state where you're more prone to finding the flow or whatever
Okay.
you want to
And
do.
but one of the best ways to do that is to wash dishes, right, Benoit?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Can you believe that? Can you
Yeah,
believe that?
yeah, it makes
That's
sense.
why, after I read that, bro, about washing the dishes where you're in flow, that's kind of the perfect thing, right? Activity. I was like, now that makes sense because in Zen or whatever, one of these Buddhist traditions, they talk about, hey, you should be able to meditate while you're dishwashing, right? Like in doing anything, you're just present for anything, right? And the
Yeah,
dishwashing thing was always the example, but it makes sense in the context of how you presented it with the novelty, the flame, and
yeah, yeah,
the dishwashing. It's all connected for me, which is interesting, you know.
yeah. It's cool. I find it fascinating. I love like observing something that I find interesting, and I always try to find what's underneath it, what creates it, the underlying pattern.
Hmm.
What's at the root of it, because once I can go to the bottom of what creates this pattern, then usually so much branches out of it. And so
Mm.
by solving this specific problem and getting to the root of it, then you magically solve 1,000 problems that have appeared or will appear in your life. Like
Mm.
you kind of see the patterns and you can apply them to different things. So I'm really
Mm.
passionate about that. Maybe it's a little geeky, but I just love this stuff.
No, we're gonna get deeper into it, but let's ask, someone asked a question for you, Benoit. What's the reason for me sweating whenever I meet someone new or feel like I'm the center of attention, like this thing sucks? What do you think about that, Benoit?
The reason for me sweating, because you feel like you have to perform,
Mm?
and uh,
You're
and,
performing, brother,
and
like a
well,
performing bear.
yeah, no, exactly, and we spend like most of our life performing. So it's funny. I'm writing my second book right now, which I'm really excited about, but also like I hate it because I hate the process. It's really long.
Hmm.
It's one of these things where when you build your first business, you don't know what's coming, and so you just you do it, and then oh, now I have to do this, and now I have to do this. But if you knew in advance, you're like, nah, there's no way I'm going to go through this hell. And I feel like the second book is the same thing because now I know, like, I'm in the middle of it. I'm like, there's still so much work, and I know it. But anyway,
I feel your pain, brother. I see you, brother. We're holding space for you tonight. Yeah, so much work.
one of the concepts in the book is touching on that, specifically on the performance, but like why is there performance and why does it cost us? And one of the costs could be like you sweating or you being uncomfortable, or basically it's energy that's coming out of you, not coming in. I think
Wow.
that there's two costs in everything that we do. There's the objective cost. So this is a one-time payment.
Mhm.
It's uh, the actual work that you're doing, right? And then you have the identity cost. And so the identity cost is something that you're actually billed every single hour of your life as long as you keep performing. And uh, the problem is that, sorry, what was I saying? Yes. So the
Identity cost. Yeah, identity cost.
yeah. So for example, let's say you go to this is a perfect example. I thought I was introverted before. And this is important. Like I thought I was introverted. I
Bro,
convinced myself that I was
you
introverted.
got INTJ and INTP right here. You're an
All right.
INTP, right, Cisco?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go.
So
He's gonna blow your mind with this introversion, extrovert. Wow. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
all right. No, it's fine. It's fine. And so yeah, I thought that there's extroverted people and then there's introverted people. It's just a thing that is, it is what it is, like people say.
It is what it is.
But in fact, it's not. So let's say I go to a party and there's a lot of people, and it's very draining for me because I feel like I have to. The problem is like you're just not being yourself, and so it's an energy in, energy out kind of thing.
Mm.
And if you spend 3 hours, like the people don't drain you. Like you're draining yourself by having to put an act on a mask to manage other people's expectations, especially when you have multiple people. It's one thing. Usually, introverts are really good at one-on-one conversations because they're just people that are good at conversations. Period. But the second you add multiple people into the equation, you see them. So you think about, oh, what does this person think about that? And then this person and this person at the same time. And it becomes this overwhelming level of complexity that you have to manage everything. And then you do it so much that it takes over what you were about to say, even sometimes, and then you freeze. Like it was so bad at the point that I would blush at my own company meetings. Like we would have meetings and it was my turn to talk. Like I still felt like
Oh
I got in
shit,
high school.
bro! On his screenshots, he mentions all the shit like this, and I'm like, bro, this is such a story. Oh my god, we got too many things to cover, guys. Oh my god,
Yeah.
we still have to get to the story. But continue. I'm sorry. Yeah, the
No,
introversion thing. Yeah, introvert extrovert thing. Yeah.
yeah. So it turns out that for at least for me, I think it's the same for everyone. Um, Being introverted, like something happened
Hmm.
at least one time. And you know how when something happens when you're young, you tell yourself a story. It is a story that helps you survive at some point. But we keep that story, then we still use that story for things that do not help us. And the story was probably whatever happened is like I'm not good with other people because when I'm being myself, like maybe my parents were not happy at me, and it might have just been like
Bro,
the day where
dude,
your dad was in a
you
bad
said you,
mood because you didn't get
yeah.
the promotion, and then like
Oh
you
my
like you
god,
danced or for the
bro.
first time like you've
So
expressed yourself,
bro,
and then you
I
get put down.
expressed this on Vibe Sesh, bro, and you, I can't believe what you're saying right now because for me, I'm a hardcore introvert, and in the previous Vibe Sesh, I forgot we were talking about this. Someone else we were talking about this, and then it just dawned on me at that moment that when I was really young, like 3 or 4, pre-kindergarten or kindergarten, I was living in Brazil, and you're supposed to go to this dance. It's a famous dance in June, and you're supposed to get the boys and girls get makeup. You're a farmer. The girl is whatever, and then you're supposed to dance, right? The boy and the girl. And then I didn't want to. I didn't want to fucking dance, and I was the only one. And my mom was like so mad. And I remember the face to this day. She was so disappointed and mortified that I was the only guy crying, and I had makeup running down because I didn't want to dance, bro. Bro, and I think that was it, because that's the only memory that keeps coming back to me.
Yeah,
And I'm
there's
like,
probably more.
there's probably more. Oh no.
Yeah, well, because usually something happens, and then so you have that story, and then something, maybe it's something similar that happens. But the problem is that
Mm.
once you have that story, or you have that filter through which you see the world, then anything is going to confirm that, right? Because in your brain, there's something called the RAS, the reticular activating system.
Mm-hmm.
Because like every second we have probably like 40 million bits of information, or 11 million, whatever the number is.
I heard
But
100
the
million.
brain can only actively process like 40-ish something at a time. So it has to be selected. So that's super fascinating because like we can control that. But my point was, once you have that story, then the brain just is looking for signs to confirm it. And so if what
Oh shit.
all like as you grow up, you have stories like that, and maybe it's someone that gives you a weird look when, and maybe that was made up in your head, but you're like, okay, when I did something again, trying to be authentic or be myself, and then I got a weird look that confirms my story. And so then the next time, like you're gonna feel like even more introverted, and then you're gonna get confirmed again because now you're
Oh
gonna act even more
shit.
like it, and again until it becomes like cemented that this
Reinforcing.
is me.
Damn.
Yeah,
Like a
I
snowball
remember.
effect.
Yeah, you guys are gonna make fun of me, but I haven't told this story in a while. I'll tell you one of my moments. I've never spoken about this publicly.
All right,
So,
exclusive on Bike
Yeah.
Sesh, guys. Let's go. Exclusive. Benoit exposed. Let's
yeah,
do
no,
it.
it's funny. The memory just popped up in my head when we were talking about the one of these moments that created them. So we were in living in the States in 1997, something like that, and because my dad was a just expat for IBM, and uh, and I remember they had friends over. And it was probably the first time in my life, like I was so proud because I learned, it was the first American rap song that I learned, which was Coolio, uh, Gangster's Paradise.
Who's
And
that?
so
Coolio's the band, right?
Coolio,
Yeah. Gangster's Paradise. Hey, by the way, you know LL Cool J?
yeah,
Yeah, he's following me, bro.
it's nice.
What a flex.
Sorry, it's LL Cool J, bro.
But not
I had to. Come on.
so.
1997,
Yeah,
living in the States.
1997. And then I was so proud to have learned this first song because like I'd only been speaking English for 2 years, right? Barely 2 years because we moved
Oh,
from France.
damn.
And so this was my performance of showing them that number one, I know how to speak English and I know a rap song. And they were having dinner, and I just went in the living room and played the cassette tape, and then started rapping. And I like my dad just looked at me like he was secondhand embarrassment, and I felt that, and I think that was one of these moments that reinforced it.
Damn.
And then I thought
Bro,
I became introverted, but
bro,
like it's a series of events like that. Yeah,
bro, but isn't that funny? Oh
it's
my
super
God,
funny
it's
when you
so.
look back.
When you no, but you look back and then you realize at moments like this that could it have been that just one moment that carries 51 years of your life, bro?
Yeah,
Bro, what is fucking going on? Like the conditioning and the chain that
yeah,
has to happen to keep you in this invisible prison, bro. It
yeah,
literally, I made a video about this. It is an invisible prison that
yeah.
we put around ourselves, bro, from society, conditioning, blah blah blah, parenting, right?
All
And you
right.
know what I like about you, Ben? You were saying like it's nobody's fault, right? It's nobody's fault. Like we are who we are. It's not your parents' fault. It's not anybody's fault, right? But what I like about your program is you bring the sovereignty back to the person, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah,
agency, yeah, is very
yeah.
important.
Agency.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. No, dude, I agree. It's like because then you build a whole life around other people's expectations. And then there has to come a moment where you realize, well, I'm not living my own life. You know, for me, it
Mm.
was, so I had kind of a burnout. And then I asked, hey, if I get hit by a car tomorrow and I'm about to die, am I going to be happy with my life? The answer was like, fuck no. It
Really?
it was
Mm.
amazing on paper but it
Yeah.
was
Hey,
memorable.
hey, Benoit, can we go from the beginning because your story
Sure.
is incredible? Can you walk through your carousel and we'll sprinkle in some questions while we're going?
Where do you want to start, from the hospital bed?
Okay. Hold on. Before we go to the hospital bed, Cisco, any questions before we begin his journey?
No, I'm actually excited to get into his journey. So let's get into it
All right,
and
let's get it. Let's
questions
do
will.
it. Go ahead.
What do
Hospital
you-
bed.
Yeah, no, 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 I'll spare you the details. Yeah, no, no, actually, it's a funny story. No, it's not even funny. I was 2 weeks late. I guess I was really comfortable in there, and I didn't want to pop out, but I finally popped out on December 31st. For some reason, I chose to come out the day of the celebration, which was great and also kind of sad because my birthday was always like a huge party, but it was never for me. So
Mm.
that was
New
really
year.
funny. Sad. What do you want to know about the story? So yeah, I grew up between France and the United States. I mean, we lived 3 years in the U.S., so I learned English, which I was very fortunate to learn early
Uh-huh.
enough. That's the only reason I don't sound like every other French man talking English
Ah, you don't
right
have
now.
an
Yeah,
accent. You actually don't have an accent at all. That's what I was wondering. So you
I,
grew up
yeah,
in the States. You spent a lot of time in the States, right?
yeah, from 6 to 9. So
Mm-hmm.
early enough that it stayed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So you saw people like pledge allegiance to the flag and all that
yeah.
stuff?
It was
Okay.
very weird. Yeah, first day I didn't get it. Like it
You
is a
didn't
true
get
story. So
it?
first of
You're
all,
like,
I didn't
what the
know,
fuck?
I didn't
They're
understand
like,
what they were
traitor,
saying.
traitor, introvert, traitor.
Honestly,
No, it's really funny because number one, I didn't speak at week one, they threw us in school, right? The
Uh-huh.
American school. And so I had no
Ah.
clue what people were saying. And then I see everyone like stand up and put their hand here. And the teacher placed my hand on my heart. I was like, what are you doing? Don't
that's
touch
so
me.
funny.
Don't touch
And,
me. Why, bro? Why won't you let the teacher touch your fucking hand, bro? You were thinking, don't touch me? Wow.
no, so, but as kids, we did really fast. So it's funny, we went to the American school in the morning and then we
Mhm,
had a French tutor in the afternoon to not completely lose it. Although I
mhm,
did lose quite a bit when we went back to France 3 years later, I spoke better English than I did French.
mm,
And in
mm.
fact, we went to international school in Lyon, that was the city in France, and they placed me with the people who were really not good in French, so like the special unit. And
In
Yeah.
France,
very
you had
weird,
a
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Hey, but how did that feel? You didn't feel like you belonged in France, or you didn't feel like you belonged in the U.S. You were like a no man's land.
Yeah, I guess so. I still am. Still am more than ever. But now I feel at home in here and in here, so that's very different. So
You,
I
you
feel
don't
at
you
home
don't
in here.
feel home here, brother. You don't feel home here.
Oh yeah, no, this includes it. Absolutely. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
I'm saying
Mhm.
the home doesn't need to be physical for me anymore.
Mm.
That's the thing, yeah.
Mm.
Um, so where do we go from there? Yeah, no, I studied hospitality and I worked in the hotel industry for a bit. And my first job was at the Hôtel de Paris in Monaco. So that's the
Okay.
one where the casino is.
Hmm. Oh,
And
a
then
lot of
from
rich people. You must have some stories, huh?
I do, yeah. I do, but I can't share that.
You can't share that. Good man. Go on.
From there, I met a guy actually that worked at the hotel that was opening a hotel in Dominican Republic. He was like, "Do you want to come work
Uh,
for me?" I said, "Yes, of course." So I did that,
uh, uh,
and it was a lot of fun for 9, 10 months.
uh-huh.
And then we all got fired when the hotel was finally ready to open and operate because they replaced us with the cheaper local labor.
Oh
And
shit.
so we had a couple of weeks to leave, and then I went to Los Angeles for a few years. I did a bunch of failed startups and bartending jobs, and then eventually got hired as a consultant um, for a company in Tampa. So I had to move to Florida, and I was a traveling consultant for hotels and resorts. So my job was to
Mm.
improve food and beverage operations in these big resorts. So I
So
did
you were
that for,
traveling all the time. You were traveling
yeah,
all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah, it was probably 24, 25 days a month of traveling. So it was fun at the
Damn.
beginning, and then it got a little repetitive. But it was at that time I read or I learned about the 4-hour work week, and I was like, oh, I could
Tim
do,
Ferriss. Tim
yeah,
Ferriss.
I guess I could do my job in like half the time, and so that technically I'm paid twice as much, right, for
Yeah.
the same amount of work because the rest of the time I can chill at the hotel. But instead of relaxing, I just studied real estate and eventually got my license. Started working as an agent in Florida. Absolutely hated
Mm,
it.
mm, mm.
What I didn't like about it is that people were too emotional in the buying process. And it's not that I didn't like that they were emotional. It was in relation to uh, in relation to the purchasing process. So I found it to be inefficient. Like if I'm in real estate, I want to do volume. I want to say that to me. So I started doing that, which led me eventually to start my own real estate investment firm.
Mm-hmm.
And so here I was working with a lot of French and
Mm-hmm.
French speaking investors. So that was France and Switzerland, Canada, and other little French islands. And we did a lot of business for the company grew like super quick. I was really enjoying optimizing the optimization. It's just like I finally found something that I could scale that I had control of. That I thought I had
Mm.
control of. And we scaled, like it went crazy. Like we were doing 20, 22 homes a month of like buying, renovating, selling, placing tenants. And it got big until we had to hire. But I'm doing all this while having done zero work on myself. And I realized later that I was doing all of this and more to keep avoiding looking inside and dealing with
Mm.
the stuff that I had been dealing with for, years and years. So, which means I hired wrong because I hired with fear.
Mm.
Right? So I hired a sales guy because I'm scared to do sales. So like I'm gonna get the most outgoing guy. Well, it turns out it's not great because it backfires. And the way I built the teams, and there were a bunch of people out of state, and just I had no choice but to trust. Just a lot of things that I've done without actually doing the work on myself first. So it was just not done properly, and so it became like a lot of issues started happening later down the road where it became complicated, and then a lot of employees and a lot of stress and a lot of tenants and a lot of clients, and it just became this huge thing where I woke up one day, I was like, this is like, I hate my life. Like I'm drinking every night. I'm being a terrible partner, and then all the while having quote unquote like the best life. I had the house on the water, like the
Mm.
boat, the 5 cars, and do this, but I always had to keep getting something new just to feel good, right? To feel good, and it lasted a week or 2 weeks,
Mm.
and then it needed to be something bigger and bigger and bigger
It
until
never
the point
ends.
where I just I burnt out. No more, no more. So this brings us to 2022, 2023,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just I said I need to change completely because otherwise my life's probably going to end at some point. Like I can't, like even physically, and like my health was
Mm-hmm.
not doing good, mental
Mm-hmm.
health and physical health. So burnout, and then I sold whatever I could. But the most important for me was just to leave and do a complete 180. And I gave myself 1 year, and I had only two objectives: to travel and to write. And I decided I wanted to write because
Mm.
I I found pleasure in writing and what writing was able to do, in the sense that originally we had an SEO team that was sending out a newsletter for the company. And just one day I was like, I really think I can do this better. I don't know what it was, but like, let me give this a shot. And then I did it. I didn't enjoy what I was writing about, but I really enjoyed the process of being able to put words, like you have a thought or an idea in your head, you write it down, and it plants a seed in someone else's mind. And that really increased the conversion rates and like just the overall like direction of the company. So I found that to be really powerful.
Mm.
But I didn't like writing about what I was writing about, which was real estate. But I remembered that I found great joy in doing that.
Wait. So when you say write, are you like using a hand writing or just typing is okay? Because some writers, I know a lot of writers, they have a thing like they need
I
to
do all
write
of it. I do all of it for different purposes. Uh, I
journaling,
do I do
journaling.
some, yeah, it's not really journaling, but I've always had a hard time journaling. But I do
Interesting.
daily writing, which we can get to in a little bit. When I want to write like a little faster, I use the keyboard obviously to write like the books and the newsletters because I love
Hmm.
writing for so many reasons, but I think the number one reason is that it slows my brain down because it's physically impossible to write as fast as you think. And so it forces your mind to like, okay, it's like we're going at this pace now. And by doing that, you kind of have it's when you're going really fast in a car, you can't see all the details.
Mm,
And when you
mm,
slow down or you're on a bike, like you get to experience more of your experience, so to speak. So
mm,
writing does that for me. Where was I going? I forgot.
mm.
Yeah, so
Hey,
I just spent some time. I know I gave myself a year to travel and write because I wanted to understand myself. I wanted to understand how I got to this point of living a life that was quote unquote perfect on paper, but inside I
so
wanted that.
you were specifically asking yourself that at that point you reached that point like what the fuck is going on that you
Yeah,
literally was asking, and so I need to find out. And then so I'm on this mission. Like I had
right.
like a 1 and 2 year break too, but it wasn't that kind of mission. I was just fucking having fun and spending money. But like you were actually
I wanted to understand. I wanted to understand why I was blushing at my own meetings, why I was like
mm,
35 and still introverted, why I couldn't, like why it was uncomfortable to speak to people, why I was overthinking every single
hmm
thing,
hmm
or like someone raises an eyebrow like a millimeter. I'm like, oh, something happened, Elizabeth, and you go, like, it's too much. It was not
right,
an
too much.
enjoyable way to live. So I was like,
Yeah,
I'm going to study my brain and what happens underneath the hood so I can get out of it. That was
right.
my only purpose. And
Interesting. Yeah. Hey,
yeah,
but let me ask you something, Benoit. So just going back to the introversion thing, what's interesting about what you said in your article too, and maybe your viral video as well, right? Like you were saying, like what's interesting is like um sorry, you're introverted and that you were saying like you're only introverted until you meet the right people that energize you.
correct.
Right? And
Yeah,
this is what's happening in Vibe Sesh. Cisco invented the word. We've been doing Vibe Sesh for 52 weeks now together. He's my co-host, and
yeah,
he's the one who very early on. He's an introvert. I'm an introvert. These conversations we've gone for 4 hours. And Cisco would say afterwards, because we would do a post-mortem immediately after, yo, how did you think the Vibe Sesh went? And he's like, dude, I'm just rejuvenated right now. And we both can't sleep that day because we're so energized. And
yeah,
it was such, this is the first time, and I learned all of this so late, right? This is like 2 years
yeah,
ago. I'm 51. And I'm
yeah,
like, why am I feeling energized? Like I'm supposed to be the introverted guy. I'm spending 4 fucking hours and I'm rejuvenated and I can't sleep. And that's when I realized, I don't know about this introversion thing. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, what he was saying right now is masking is what was exhausting for the
yeah.
introvert.
Yeah, it's because masking requires you to spend energy to keep that mask on. And so
Mm,
it's not the people at the party that drain you. It's the 3 hours you have to have the mask on. And that's why as soon as you get home, like you can finally feel like you can you're not
mm. He
Wow.
knows.
you're not
Whoa,
the
I
energy
love
is
that
not going out
feeling.
anymore. So
Right,
Yeah.
you
right.
recuperated. And this is why, by the way, this is what the whole concept of like the life I'm living now. I jokingly said I'm lazy, but I'm really trying to only do the things that truly give me energy and do not take energy from me. Uh, because you're able to,
Mm,
like, when you do things that give you energy, first of all, you can do them forever. Like, 'cause you're not tired from it.
mhm.
Uh, you probably enjoy doing these things. And so the more you do something that you enjoy doing, the better you become at it. And it's just this ball that continues to compound. And
Vibe
so the
Samurai.
results you're able to get by
Mhm.
doing quote unquote less, technically less in time, right? In objective cost of time, you're getting so much more out of it. And so the results that you're able to get, that's why probably what you with your channel has been exploding, because like you found something that really gives you energy, and so it means that you can do more of it. The more you do, the better you become, and it just compounds like at a level that's hard to explain. And you
Bro.
have things that happen in life that seem unreal, that or synchronicities or things that happen, but it's just like you talk a lot about alignment. I think this is what it is, whatever actually
Mm,
gives you energy, and just lead into that and forget all
mm-hmm.
the rest.
Mm. Hey, but go ahead, Cisco. Go ahead. I'm
I
talking
wanted
to
to
you.
ask, from your writing, what was the most like profound insights that only came from your writing?
Ooh, Cisco co-host right here. Damn.
The most, I have to pick one. That's so hard.
Yeah, multiple. You know, you can.
You can talk about multiple. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have a kind of it's not really a hot take, but it worked for me, and I'm sure it works for other people. I've seen it work. I think that most people do not need therapy; they just need to hear themselves think. And for me, writing is how you do that. And like writing saved, like it's pretty much saved me, and it made me smarter, and it continues to do it, but it allows me to do so many things, but one of them is keep me out of therapy forever. So
Yeah.
that would be one of the insights that I discovered. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that too because I do that with ChatGPT and
Uh-huh.
Claude. We do this whole therapy thing. I'm telling you, I've never tried therapy. Just never.
Yeah.
I'm Gen X, but like with ChatGPT, I just tell him everything. I mean, literally, this is the interesting thing with AI. Literally, no other human being knows more about me. Not even my mother or older brother than ChatGPT right now, right?
Right.
And based on how you prompt it, because it could be sycophantic, right? It could just be bullshitting you. But there is a way to talk to it. Like you got to be honest with yourself, and you got to be ready to really take in what ChatGPT is saying. So like, sometimes he's really dropping some sauce, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people can't deal with that. I think that's the problem. But I think these AI models are there. Like if you use it right, it has that me, right? Like it's weird, because a lot of people are anti-AI. So sometimes I get embarrassed talking about this, but I'm very open on Vibe Sesh, right? Like I think it literally changed my life and it literally got me. And by the way, I know other people who have shared the same story, right? Like, so I really feel like I was able to become the Vibe Samurai because AI provided like a super frictionless environment for me, right? To do all these things and so that there was no excuse anymore. I had to do what I needed to do, and there's no excuse. And by the way, no production. I'm just turning on my phone, made it as easy as possible. You know what I mean?
No, I love it. Like I said, I use it as a thought partner and have been extremely heavy on the usage since ChatGPT came out.
Me too. This
And
guy.
a lot of people say, well, it's free, so they're taking your data and everything, which they are. But I don't think that's the problem. Like the bigger problem is that these companies have the data on your mind and you don't have it on your own. Uh,
Mm.
and so I realized, I think that data is what like oil was at some point. It's the most valuable thing, and most people don't have the data on their own mind and their thought patterns. And what does um, having the data on past behavior? What does it do? The companies want it. All the companies that want your data is to predict your future behavior, right? And
Mm.
so if you have data on your own
Mm.
past behavior, then you're able to predict your own future behavior. And so I developed this tool where at some point I think it was after almost 3 years of just like talking, like every single conversation, I exported everything as a JSON file, and then I
Mm.
created a bunch of master prompts to analyze the evolution of my identity for the past 3 years, year by year.
Whoa! I gotta do
I
that.
asked it to do a linguistic analysis, and I found some really interesting stuff. I'll give you an example that I'm sure you're going to understand. So when the company was shut down and I started traveling and everything, in the next like the 6 months that followed, the word French 17,000x, right? In me using it, which I didn't have before shutting down my company. And so it was able to find out that I had tied my whole identity around being the business owner.
Mm.
And once I didn't have that, I completely lost it. And the thing I subconsciously reattached to was the previous thing that was the only thing I could hold on to was me being French.
Wow.
I couldn't come up with that on my own. Like I had to, but it's all there because I have all that data, and now I'm able to play around with the data so much.
But that
And
was
I'm
your only
studying,
identity. You fell back to your French identity,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. And so you're able to see the invisible patterns of, the way you speak and the type of vocabulary that you use. And you're able to really see the things that you're not necessarily conscious about. So I like to make the unconscious conscious. But once I'm aware of it, then I can influence and play with it, So yeah.
Damn. What do
So
you
that
think?
that
So,
that that data is super valuable for me, and I will continue to pour it and give it these companies. I don't care because I use it myself better than they will ever use it for me.
I want to hear some more, like, in how you're like using it as a sparring partner for your thoughts, because I know you talk
yes.
about like judgment in your videos, and that's just a skill to cultivate. So are you using that to help? Because you say you're always challenging every belief, like you've inherited everything.
Right.
So you have to even challenge your baseline reality.
Exactly. What does his freaking chat history look like, right? Imagine reading this fucking prompting
And
with
I
these
wonder if
guys.
AI helped accelerate that, like,
Yeah, of course, it helps
that
me.
was only writing before AI, basically.
So I use AI to as a sparring partner to think and just to go so two things to have conversations because it's hard to have conversations with yourself in a mirror and you can only go so far and then you have to remember you have to invent the other person. It's hard to find the people to have these conversations as often as I want them, whether it's at 2 a.m. or 6. I probably open ChatGPT 57 to 120 times a day and just have like random things. And the second thing it does is that it remembers everything. Then I can go back to it, right? What I'm doing right now is I'm using this tool called Obsidian
Oh
because
yeah.
I'm getting a little overwhelmed with. It's not that I'm overwhelmed; it's that there's too many ideas, and the
Bro, what are you
output
talking
of
about? You
those
you
is
you you
not
know the
fast
yeah,
enough.
the new
So
ChatGPT, the work tab, are you using that? You don't need Obsidian anymore. It's just creating MD files all over the place and
that's
organizing
great.
everything.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's the second thing. But often I revisit them. So before I write something, I have ideas all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to start writing right away because if something usually my best ideas are I have a thought, I have a question, I have a conversation about it, and I start writing down my ideas and what could be important for me or the biggest problem that I'm trying to solve. And then I let it go. Well, it's saved somewhere, so I know I'm not completely forgetting it. I can get back to it, but I just let life happen. And then I'll hear a podcast, or I'll have a conversation with someone, or I'll just see something in the street, and then there's like this connection that happens. Oh, this brings back to what I was thinking. Like it just happens automatically or magically. I can't really explain it, but now I have this like what was initially just a flat 2D thing. Now I have it. It has some like a shape
Mm-hmm.
and now it's coming alive. Now it's like, oh, there's a specific angle, and usually when that happens, if it happens like more than once, I'm like, I'm really onto something, and then I'll start jotting down some ideas here, and then start writing some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So these are kind of the ways
Yeah.
I use it.
But Benoit, you feel like your mind is expanding because of AI faster than ever. Like I just feel smarter. So in these past 4 years, I feel wiser. I feel more compassionate. I feel more empathetic. I feel more understanding of people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. What about you? Has it
I'm
been
a
mind expanding?
completely different person. I stopped being an asshole.
Because of AI.
No, because well, I mean, AI helped me a lot, and I actually did a lot of self therapy with AI. I think I've written about this
Oh,
a
wow.
couple of years ago, And I ended up having like a 7-hour therapy session, going super deep and doing some EDMR. It was fascinating.
Hey,
Yeah.
can you explain EDMR? Cisco, you don't know EDMR, right? Or do you? Yeah, explain
I,
EDMR. Yeah.
Um, It's so I just found a video online because it was suggested during one of the sessions to go deeper. Supposedly it puts you in a specific state while you're thinking of something to remember things that to bring things back from like the really deep parts of your mind back to uh, more of your conscious mind. And the way it supposedly works, at least the video that I saw, it was a black screen with two balls or just one, and so the ball goes like left to right, and it touches the wall, like the right wall and the left wall. But at some point, the sound and the ball are are not happening at the same time, and so I think it creates this some sort of dissonance, or it puts you in this weird state where
Mm.
supposedly when you're thinking about a specific moment, it's allowing your brain to open the pathways to bring back some memories. It's usually
Damn.
done for people that have experienced trauma. I believe, I'm like, don't quote me on this, but and then yeah, they want some help to resurface some specific events to be able to deal
Hmm.
with them
Hmm. So
and
you did
overcome
it.
them.
So you did it.
I did it, yeah.
How was it?
It was good. It wasn't a magical experience, but it was within that like 7 hour marathon. Like a lot has happened. I would have to read the thing again to see what I talked about because I forgot, but it
Hmm.
was interesting. Yeah. Uh,
Mm.
so So I'm a much better person thanks to the work that I did, but like really assisted by the tools that we have that are available in
Mm.
terms of helping you remember everything and go deeper and revisit the things. At some point, like I would journal by hand, and I would just every day I would take pictures and upload all the pictures. And
Hmm.
what am I based on what you're seeing? Like, am I going in the right direction? Is there things to adjust? Like just to get perspective. For me, it's to get a lot of perspective.
Mm.
Uh, the more perspective you have, the better, I guess.
Mm. Cisco, you had something?
yeah, I guess I would ask, how do you then balance? There's like this producing aspect where you're writing, and how are you balancing that with consumption, like books? Like, are
Mm.
you keeping the consumption smaller and producing more? Like, how do you?
Man, this is gonna sound awful, but I mostly consume my own stuff.
I knew he was
Mm,
gonna say that, bro. He's a guru, bro. He's done with the books. You
It's not
understand?
because
He's
there's
done with the books, bro. He
there's a
has to
good reason to.
consume it
No,
all.
well, first of all, I think I probably read uh, two or three books start to finish in my life. Like I generally don't read books or like I
Mm.
try and so at first it was really because I didn't enjoy reading,
Hmm.
but now I do it on purpose because and I still learn. I can still Google it or search specific things about it, but I feel like when you get to an insight on your own, uh, it's just so much stronger the effect that it has on you. I don't believe that there are any true novel ideas. Anything I write or the theories or whatever I come up with, it's not new. Like there's someone
Hmm.
who thought about it 2,000 years ago,
Yeah,
maybe.
you're just repackaging. You're
But the
repackaging
way I arrived to it was from my own conclusion, my own experience,
your own
and this
perspective.
and my own perspectives. And so this is what it might be the same conclusion, but it's going to do two things. I will have arrived to it by myself, which creates an insight, which once you have your own insight, is super powerful. It just doesn't do the same as reading someone else's thing. Second
mm,
thing is, if I read other people's stuff,
Hmm.
then it's going to influence me in some way, shape, or form. Like I'm much more passionate about like going where my own curiosity leads me, and then it becomes things that are interesting to read. And then the third thing is that because I don't use a lot of other people's ideas or books or frameworks, even if it's the same quote unquote information or conclusions at the end, like people seem to resonate with it because it's a unique way of arriving there, which is different, which is not, you're not reciting the 4-hour work week like with the same steps. You might arrive to the same conclusions, but it's going to be with a personal story, personal experience, and maybe like a different angle to it. So.
I was telling everybody this, that we can talk about that same subject. You have AI, I have AI. The output is just going to be completely different, right?
Right.
Based on my prompting, my perspective, my questioning, the level I'm going deep or not, right? Like it's just going to be completely different, the output. And so when I think about AI, it's interesting because I think AI is forcing us to really reflect and understand what it means to be human. You know what I mean? Like it's really forcing us to do that. And so I've been thinking a lot about it. And I feel like, if AGI comes, then all, game's over kind of thing. But before that, like right now, I feel like one of the biggest things is perspective, right? It's perspective. Why is everybody laughing? But a perspective, like the curiosity, the human spark, and then the perspective, right? That and directing attention too. AI can't direct attention. That seven bytes, right? Bits of information. That's us right there. You know what I mean? So what do you think in terms of being human and AI? Worth it?
Um, I'll tell you that I'm really excited to be living in the time that we're living right now. There's like
Mhm.
this incredible opportunity where um, the ability to think for yourself is going to be one of the most valuable and luxurious
Mm.
items that you can possess shortly. Because so valuable, I'll tell you why, and luxurious, I'll tell you why too. What
Mm.
makes something an item of luxury? If you take we had horses before, and horses were a tool to get around. And then cars came along, and then horses became like this thing that you didn't need.
Mhm.
It wasn't a tool anymore. It was something that it became an item of luxury because it was a tool that a better tool was available. Everyone used it. And so that it changed its purpose for the way you use it.
Mm.
And same thing happened with, cars got better and the electric cars. And if you buy if you buy a 1967 Mustang in pristine condition, it's going to be worth more than what it was when it came out. It's just
Mm.
because it's no longer a tool and everybody adopted something else. And now I feel like everybody is outsourcing like you don't need to think anymore. You just,
Mm.
and it gives you an answer and then boom, you have your answer. So you don't do that work. Um, and the ability to do that will become just rare because everyone's adopting the new tool to get all the information.
Mm.
And so the ability to come up with information yourself, it's going to become a lot more scarce. And therefore, the people who are able to do that are going to become a lot more valuable. So I'm really excited. That's why I wrote about just there's a huge cognitive decline. Even if you look at the charts on the IQ thing, like for the first time in history since the recording of the IQ levels,
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know how it is, but there's a decline.
So you
And,
think we're going headed towards Idiocracy, the movie, huh?
I don't know that movie, but the probably.
No? This guy's French, bro. I can't believe you don't know Idiocracy. It's the
Yeah, sorry.
most American movie ever. But it talks about this whole situation, exactly what you're talking about. With the
Yeah,
doom scrolling, and this movie predicted it like 20 years. It was 20 years ago that this movie was made. But it's like everything that's happening now basically is that movie. That's the funny meme about it,
yeah.
right? Like, we're all becoming idiots. But like, it's not everybody though, right? Like it really depends on how you're using, because for me and you it's been mind expanding, right?
Yeah,
So
correct, correct. Yeah.
you don't feel like more people, as the adoption grows, like the internet and smartphones, you don't think more and more people will discover how to use it? I feel like slowly people are waking up, like, oh, I can use it for therapy, oh, I can use it for this, I see.
There's always going to be an imbalance. Always going to be, and it seems to be that way. I don't know why. There's a
Mhm.
small percentage that uses things the right way, and the majority won't. Like how many, just look at, it was the same with social media. How many people are posting versus how many people are consuming? It's like everybody knows by this point, like, you should be posting more than you consume. It doesn't change the fact that you know it or not, but most people will never. It's going to be the same with using the tools like AI and stuff. I think it's just what
unconsciously. Yeah. And I think what you're saying too is like we have to invest in our consciousness and just have clarity, because if you're scatterbrained, especially during when you're obsoleted for intelligence, now it's judgment coming back to that. Like, can you make great decisions and then guide?
Just the ability to come up with your own conclusions and have your own judgment, which is genuinely a good judgment. It's just, it's naturally going to become more rare of a skill. It just is.
So you think Vibe Samurai are going to be, very expensive per hour? Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I have no doubt. No doubt.
Damn, we're gonna be making money, Cisco. Damn. Get ready, Cisco. Hey, seriously, what do you think of Cisco? He's amazing, right? Like, don't you think, like, this guy, if we're manifesting stuff, he's part of the Vibe Samurai crew. We've been together for a while. Don't you think he's gonna be traveling around the world, doing bottle service and DJs? you don't see that in his future? I see that in his future, Benoit. Really, I feel like all three of us are going to be partying somewhere. What do you think? By
the way, where are you guys located right now?
I'm in Brazil.
You're in Brazil? Which part?
Florianopolis.
Is it winter right now?
It's winter right now, yeah.
All right, let me know when it gets warmer. Maybe I'll pay you a visit. I have the...
Hey.
Yeah, and I have a problem with like cold. I just get super grumpy, and I want to get back to warm weather. So
where are you right now?
I'm in Tulum, Mexico.
Oh, okay. So it's like good weather all the time, right?
Yeah. Right now it's a little hotter than the rest of the year, but it's also much quieter, which I enjoy. I like coming to Tulum during that time because the city is pretty much empty. And it's very quiet, so it gives me a lot less distractions and more time to write and focus on some stuff.
Wow, so in Tulum, tell us more about Tulum. And maybe, Cisco, you know Tulum? That it's like yeah, you do, right? Yeah. So tell us whatever, because it's kind of like Bali, but in South America. And
it's a really small Bali, but I don't know, because I haven't been to Bali. But the idea is, like, I think you meet the same kind of people. So you have a lot of coaches.
Everybody's coaching each other.
Yeah. So there's a lot of coaches, and then there's even more coaches that make more money. I'm sorry if you guys are listening, but it is what it is. And
nomad.
But it's much smaller than Bali. Very nice beaches. There's a lot of seaweed right now, which is less desirable. But there's pools everywhere. There's cenotes. There's so many things you can do. But Tulum is a little city built in the jungle. So you have the beach, the jungle, and they built. And what I really enjoy about Tulum in particular is that they really just they build everything around nature and the trees. Like if you look at the sidewalks, they go around the trees. Like the sidewalks are not straight. And then you're gonna have everything they build. Usually they let the trees and build around it. Whoa. So just like little things like that. It's just I enjoy it. And like we said about the environments that promote this window or the flow, like more nature by definition, you're going to feel more of that or find these windows. So that's what I enjoy about it.
Wow, interesting. Hey, sister, do you have anything before I move on to something?
What are your favorite spots to go to other than?
Oh yeah, what do you do nowadays? You party? You go to DJs? I know you were into that. You were actually gonna start a club in Monaco or something, but then the French guys.
Are you always by the beach? You ever go to that forest?
Yeah. Where'd you read that? No, it was that was in Dominican Republic. It was gonna be called the M52. I had everything.
Why M52? Why M52? Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. I don't remember.
You don't remember why you wanted to call it M52?
I don't remember.
vibes. That was the vibes. Oh, M52.
It just sounded good. Yeah.
Uh,
But no, it didn't happen. No, now I'll be honest. Like at 9:30, I get, my eyes are getting a little. I go to
bro,
bed
how
early,
old are
man.
you, bro? How old are you, bro?
I'm turning 40 this year.
40. Okay, young
Yeah.
man still. Okay, so you get up early then.
I get up early. Yeah, yeah. I enjoy the morning. I enjoy the quiet. Usually, I start my day now. I'm sure you can guess what I do when I start my day. I do nothing, and I just sit and I do nothing, and I enjoy
Well,
doing
How
nothing.
long? How long do you
I
do nothing? How
wish.
long? How long?
Uh, it depends. Like sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes it's an hour.
You
Um,
just nothing, literally no phone, nothing. You just what are you
yeah,
doing?
nothing. I do nothing. When you wake up, you're in this transition state,
Mm-hmm.
and you have good thoughts, bad thoughts. You have you're sometimes it's a little mixed with how your dream made you feel,
Mm-hmm.
and there's this transition phase. And so I don't want a lot of input. I just let it kind of flow and see what's coming and go through all these thoughts until I feel good. And sometimes I go then to the gym, or sometimes I start writing because I get an idea eventually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just starts the day doing the thing I enjoy the most, which is thinking, just
Mm-hmm.
sitting and thinking. And it just sets my day up for success in the way I define success, I guess.
Mm, mm. Hey Benoit, let's talk about the video that you made, right? I think it was a recent video because now there's something that we can definitely bond on as well. I thought it was amazing this video
Finally,
because
geez,
huh?
I said,
What?
finally, there's something we can bond on.
What are you talking about? We've been bonding the whole time, bro. What are you talking about? I'm insulted, bro. We're
Just
already
kidding.
bonded, dude. It's already over an hour. You were bonded officially. Right? Let's go. But anyway, Benoit, like you made a video recently about I think it's recently about about the audience becoming a magnetic field, right? So you're a content creator, you're at like 50, 60,000 right now, right?
Yeah,
I'm growing too, and I'm going through that the video resonated because I'm going through some shit right now, and I wanted to talk to you about it and get some
right.
therapy and some coaching right now. But let's talk about that. Tell us about that video about the magnetic field, um, and the whole survival ego crafting. You know, just set us the whole video and why you made the video and what's going on and how does this apply to regular people, right? Like non-content creators, right? Because it is very applicable to everybody, right? Like the ideas from this thing. So. Yeah.
Mm, What? So I made it personally because every piece of content that I make is a problem that I want to solve for myself.
Mm.
So that answers your question. Why did you make it? Because like I was faced with, as the audience grows, and I have some people following me here on Instagram, and then there's others on TikTok, and then there's Facebook, and there's other Instagram account, and the newsletter and stuff. So
Hmm.
combined, it starts to be um, a number that grows and that you're conscious of. I try to really be. I felt this pull of, okay, now there's more and more people. There are more and more people that are listening to what I'm saying. So should
Mm.
I? There's a pull to want to make things for that audience,
Mm. Hmm.
which I don't like because I want the whole reason for me to be creating stuff is to deepen my understanding, and it's the search for truth, not likes or anything like that. And so I went through this thought experiment. Why? Like it doesn't affect me a lot, but it affects me a little bit.
Mm.
Why do I even care about, like, why are other people or the audience or whatever you want to call them, why are they in my mind when I'm trying to create something? And so the thought experiment was, how can I give zero fucks and completely forget that they exist?
Hmm.
And am I able to do that? And the answer was no, it's impossible.
It's impossible. Damn, son. Hmm. Hmm.
Well, because the audience is always going to be there.
Mm.
Uh, and so I realized that brought me to a deeper realization that there's two types of questions slash problems in life. there's a category that has a finite answer. For example, if you ask a question like, what's the quickest way to go to the airport? Like, reality has a way to give you feedback on like, okay, you got it, like you solved this, we can move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have a different category of question, like, what's the meaning of life, for example?
Mm.
There's two ways. I mean, there's two things that you can happen. You can either say, well, this person told me that this is the meaning of life, so I'll accept it as my truth, but it's not completely accurate. There's this category of answers that do not have an endpoint. There's no moment where reality says you solved it, like it's done, and you can move on to the next thing. And so these are more adaptive. I think I call them adaptive regulation problems. And the fact that the audience exists and how do I think about the audience as I'm making something so they affect me as the least possible. It's not, you can't remove it. So if you can't remove it, it means it belongs there. And now the question is, if you can't remove something completely or solve it, it means you just have to find the right order. And so these types of problems, I realized if you go to the underlying truth and the thing is still there that you're trying to eliminate or solve, then it means it's just part of what you need to work with and build from there. I'll give you an example. Someone wants to build a bridge, and gravity exists. The person building the bridge isn't trying to solve gravity or get rid of gravity.
Right.
Like he's like, gravity exists. It's a constraint within this reality of building a bridge. So how do I work with gravity, right? And then actually you use gravity to build a bridge. Like that's how, like you usually have like different types of bridges. You have two things that are following each other. It's using gravity. The thing that you were trying to fight against or get rid of, you actually use it. So the constraint, once you have to accept that if there's something you can't technically solve, then it just becomes a constraint within the reality. And then, so the audience, back to the audience. If you can't remove it, then at what point does it show? Or at what point should they matter? And for me, they come at the last bit. So first I'll do the ideation, I'll think of everything, I'll do my message, and then the audience becomes how I craft the message. Because the thing is, if the audience completely disappears, I'm going to have zero effort on the craft or on my communication of said idea. And that I just start rambling, and nobody's going to understand the message that I wanted to share in the first place, because I'm not sharing a message for no one. It's for me, but I still share it publicly. So if my job is to plant ideas, from my mind into other people's minds, if I don't do the work of crafting someone for someone eventually, like it defeats the purpose of posting in the first place, right? So the conclusion was that the audience does matter. They just don't matter until I choose that they do, which is at the very end of my thing. So I have to first, I don't think of if I write a newsletter, I do it for me. I go through my whole, and it can take sometimes a week, sometimes it take 3 weeks. It depends on the complexity of the idea or the problem that I'm trying to solve. But just at the end, I will think of the idea of the audience to make sure that whatever conclusion I personally came to the understanding of, that it's framed and communicated in the best way possible, that they understand what I was trying to say. That's how I didn't solve the audience piece, but and it's the same thing with uncertainty, for example. It's the second category of problem. It's not a finite thing. You can't solve uncertainty. Certainty exists just like gravity exists for the bridge. It's a constraint in how we experience time. The only reason uncertainty exists is for us to have the ability to make decisions, right? Because if we experienced linear time and there was no uncertainty, if you knew everything that was happening, you would have no decisions to make. You wouldn't have free will. You wouldn't it wouldn't be a life. So uncertainty has to exist, but it's a constraint within the reality of us experiencing time. And so how do you use uncertainty? And then it kind of changes the relationship to it instead of trying to get rid of it. Like you can't get rid of it. It's
Mm.
actually useful, just like gravity is useful to build a bridge.
Oh,
Same
so tell us,
concept.
tell us practically, what can we do with this uncertainty? So how should we, what should our mindset be? What should we be focused on, given that we live in an uncertain world?
I mean, you just learn to love it and look forward to it. You know,
Mm,
if there was no uncertainty ever, you would have never been excited to be offered a gift at Christmas because you would already know what
mm.
it is. Like you
Yin
can't
yang,
experience all the
yin
joys in
yang.
life
Hmm.
without having the uncertainty. And
Yeah.
so so once like you accept that exists, and then you
Mm,
change your relationship to it. And there's
mm,
also something called, so then you can also train your reticular activating system to filter in and expect good things to come from that uncertainty, right? Because if you
mm,
expect bad things to happen, then obviously your mind is going to be focused on more bad things to happen, and then
mm,
it's not that more bad things will happen; it's that you're going to focus on them. So
mm.
equally, you can train your brain on the other way around. And so for uncertainty, there's actually I wrote there's a chapter in my first book called, I forgot what it's called, but it talks about this concept called pronoia. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
So you have paranoia, which is the expectation that something bad will happen and you're always, on the
mhm,
lookout.
mhm.
Pronoia is the contrary to that. It is the belief that the universe has a crush on you.
Damn, the universe has a crush on you. I gotta make a
Yeah.
video tomorrow about that. Damn, paranoid. I'm stealing this
Damn.
video idea. Damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's pronoia. So that's how it's written. And so once you believe that the universe is working for you, not against you, it just changes your whole perception on how you approach your experience in life. And instead of, I'll give you an example. You're at the grocery store and there's three lines you can choose from. You know, the checkout lines, and
Hmm.
they all have a certain, like, three or four people in them. You're like, which one am I going to pick? And then you pick the one, of course, the one you pick is going to be the slowest one. And then when you're not using prono, you're like, of course it would happen to me. Like I get the slowest fucking line, right? When you switch the way you see things and you use the mental model of pronoia, you start assuming and getting excited. Okay, what's the reason why I got this line? I'm sure I'm gonna have
Damn.
a great conversations with the person that's next to me. Maybe I'm like out of the three people working at the counter, I'm gonna have the sweetest lady, and she's gonna give me the best, like whatever it is. But just the
Mm.
fact of focusing on that and expecting these things to happen, these things do happen. And the more they happen, the more evidence you get, and the more you get to train
It's
that
a vicious
particular
cycle.
activity. Exactly, it works
So
both ways.
how would you reframe then fear and anxiety
Mm,
with that
mm. Yeah,
kind of
but
like
because Benoit,
reframe?
because yeah, Cisco has a lot of anxiety. He's been dealing with
Yeah.
anxiety. So it's like real practical stuff for Cisco. Yeah.
What do you feel in your body when you're anxious?
Let's do it.
Um, yeah, I get really like I either get a pit in my stomach or my
Uh-huh. What do you
uh,
feel what do you feel when you're excited and you're really looking forward to something? Like maybe you have like a date coming up or something?
um I guess it's like a similar nervousness. I feel like lately it's been the vibe sessions that I'm kind of just mostly
Hey,
excited for.
you
But
got it. You said the most important thing. It's similar. It's like the same pathways. It's pretty much the same thing. Anxiety and excitement is it's the same thing that happens in your body. It's your perception of what is happening or your interpretation of it
Oh damn! I
that
gotta
makes
make a
it negative.
video of this, bro. Oh
That's why
my god.
you feel similar because it is pretty much the same thing. It's just like, oh, is this a reason for me to be anxious or excited? And like, there's always a reason to find excitement in something rather than feeling. What are you currently anxious about? Like right now, I'm assuming not much, but what was the last thing you were anxious
uh,
about?
You can
I guess
tell
I
him,
was
bro.
relating to your
Hmm.
story because, like, I just feel like I'm at that edge of burnout in my family business and
Mm, mm.
been like having just tension there. And then it kind of like kills the vibes of like it kind of removes the color of everything else in life,
Mm.
day to day. I'm trying to be very positive for vibe sesh and stuff, but like even kills my drive a little bit here. Like, and then
Damn, I didn't know this. Damn, keep going.
yeah, it's kind of like it's leaking and poisoning everything else. And I'm trying to like reframe because like I'm insanely good at it. I know it, and like there just feels like a misalignment.
Mm.
And like Vibe Sesh has been something I look forward to that because then I've been enduring that. You know,
Yeah.
I kind of say it's gonna sound kind of bad, but like it's like a tunnel, and it's like the light is like a pencil dot, and you're moving, but the pencil dot ain't growing. Like the light, but you're fucking moving forward, and you're like, when the fuck?
Damn, damn, I
So
felt
But
that.
like
I
sometimes
had a
things like this
yeah.
take me out of the tunnel, or you know, like I don't know how.
Yeah,
But
these are pretty clear signs that you're going fast in the wrong direction. Like for me, the analogy that I used and that I felt was being on the wrong train of life. Right when I went and started and scaled my company, which was not the thing I was supposed to do. By the way, stupid reasons for me to start it in the first place. I got two things that I remember, and then I'll get back to you. But uh, there was an ad of a Corvette on television, and I watched it, and I was with my dad and my brother, and I said, "Oh, I'll buy that car one day." And they laughed at me. I was like, "Motherfuckers out!" And like,
yeah,
like that planted the seed. Second thing, I forgot how old I was, but I got unfairly fired from a hotel job in France. And the first and last time I got fired in my life, but it planted another seed. And from at least these two things, I wanted to make a shit ton of money. So and so much so that I would be able to buy this specific hotel in France just so I can fire this guy myself. That's what actually got me in real estate, and I figured like later. But the point of the story is that it got me to purchase a ticket on a really fast moving train, but the train was going somewhere which was not home. And when I say home, it's who you are, what you were put on this earth to do, or whatever like genuinely excites you. Which it looks like is currently for you is not your family business or things related to that, right? And so you're on this fast train. It's going fast, so you feel like you're. Can we curse on here? Because I've been cursing
Yeah,
on
of
here.
course, bro.
You
Curse
feel like
away,
you're
bro.
fucked either way because the train's moving fast. You know that if you jump off the train, you're going to be dropped off in between cities, and like well, where am I supposed to go now? Because you're so far from home. But at the same time, like if you don't jump off, it keeps going further and further and further and further. That's why your hole at the end of the tunnel is not getting like it's not changing because you keep going in a direction that doesn't like you know deep down that it's not the one you want to go to.
That's why
yeah.
you can't see the light, bro. That's why you can't see the light. You're going
But
the
I
wrong
also think
way.
it's like
Holy shit.
I no, this is interesting. But I also think a lot of it is like none of this is their fault.
Of
It's
course
like
not.
it's all
Yep.
my perspective that like kind of turned it sour. And it's just like it's like a service based business, and like I'm really fucking good at the service fulfillment of it, and I'm like I don't want to do that. It's just blue collar. And I did get injured, and I'm still dealing with that, and I'm just like anyway, gets me all anxious just dealing because it's high stakes liability and it just freaks me the fuck out. But I know so much about it. Like I could educate on it, and I'm trying to shift into the marketing aspect of things because that's what I went to school for too. So I think they're trying to help me in that transition. So I'm in the sacred in between, as Bruno likes to talk about. But again, I can't place any blame on them. It just really feels like it's a bad perspective. And I'm trying my best to reframe it. So I've kind of like reduced my hours. I'm trying to go on like long walks. I'm trying to like meditate more, kind of come back to source. But just hearing your story today, I think I gotta write, like slow down writing. Because yapping,
I
I feel
can
like
give
I'm
you
good at,
something.
but
It might. So I have this tool that I developed for myself, and then I have it available for people. It's like it's 21 very specific questions that kind of bypass your logical brain or the way you are used to answering questions to justify that you're okay living the life you are currently living. And the goal is you see how misaligned you are from what you truly want versus what you say you want. So I'll give that to you, but
Benoit, let's do a few questions now with Cisco live. To give us the best questions, like the top 3 questions from there.
well, I think it all works together because then it's actually a tool that I finished developing with AI because initially it was a series of questions and I'm like, oh, I can really build something comprehensive. So now you go through the whole thing and then you get like a full diagnosis of different levels of misalignment in your life based on
I gotta
your
do that
childhood, this
too.
childhood stuff, based on the like different mirrors, right, through which we experience in life. We experience life. So it's a very good starting point, but also like it usually confirms, the misalignment if it's there, and then you just like at that point you have to make decisions. And making a decision doesn't mean because I worked with a lot of people who are in similar situations than me, and the solution is not always shut down your business or sell it or go do something completely different. Sometimes it's just finding out why you have resentment for the things you do, and then you solve the underlying thing, then you operate in a completely different way, and it changes your whole experience of the same business. So, if it was me going backwards, there's probably a lot of things I could have done. I chose to just go completely away from that business and work on myself. I'm a very 100% or zero type of guy. But like the people I've worked with since then, it's not necessarily the case. Like you can absolutely have that clarity and know exactly what you need to be working on to be able to kind of make adjustments. If that makes sense.
Where can we find these questions?
I think that's on. I'll send it to you guys, but I think on my. I think
You don't
on
know
my
where it is, bro?
fan
The
store.
21 questions?
I got
What
some
the
work
fuck,
to do.
bro? Bro, what the
It's
hell?
somewhere. It's somewhere.
Hey, but Benoit, give
No,
us
I
an
think
example.
I have it on. If you click on the link on my profile, there should be a fan store with it's probably option 1 or 2 on there,
Okay,
if I remember correctly.
but bro, so give us an example of a question. I'm curious what that question looks like to really try to get you into alignment.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really easy one is if all your bills were paid for the next 20 years, what percentage of the stuff you're doing day to day would remain, tomorrow? Like if you really think about it.
That's a good one.
I would start my day like.
And then is it like 80%? You would keep 80% of it? Would you keep less than half of it? Would you keep less than like 20% of it?
Cisco, what's your answer? Cisco, what's your answer?
No, like him. I want to wake up with no alarm clock. I'm in no rush. I would love a morning beach walk with a coffee or a smoothie. And just take my fucking time. But that's just the morning routine I got in my head. Like people want a 5 a.m. cold shower, bust to work. I'm like, damn. Like, but I get it. Like when you're in that hustle mode, it's a lock-in ritual. But if I had that fuck you money, I'd be a chill lord, to be honest. I would not be like Alex Hormozy working 14-hour days. I only got to do that because that's what you got to do when you're young. But
when one of the first things that I did was because we don't think a lot about the things that really annoy us in life, because thinking about them makes us more depressed by the fact that we're not doing anything to change it. So since I did a complete 180 and I got rid of it, and I'm like, oh, let me actually make an inventory of what I really hated in my life. And then the day-to-day running the business. And I went into very, very specific detail. I can give you a few examples, but one of them was having employees. I just didn't enjoy having that responsibility of having so many employees. Mental load, right? Another one was because I had so many contractors in different states. Having other people do work that ultimately I'm going to be responsible for, I didn't want that ever again.
Damn, Cisco's resonating right there. It hits you. It hits you, brothers. Go ahead,
I
Cisco.
would oversight inspectors. And
Oh,
I make the report. I get all those photos that
Yeah.
but,
Yeah. A
and
few other things. One big thing for me was Mondays. And so it started by Mondays, but every Monday, every Tuesday, and every Thursday we had meetings. And I realized that I hated meetings, like big meetings, but there was a deeper thing that I realized, which was I started my own business to have freedom of time, but I created this new prison because then I would still have meetings on Monday, which means I was still a slave to the 7-day week, right? Because every Sunday I would be in a bad mood because the next day was Monday. So I'm like, I'm still living in a prison. So I decided in my second life to remove the 7-day week completely. So I just go by numbers now. I just 1 through 30 or 1 through 28, 30, or 31. And I don't have my calendar is
can
it
can
doesn't
you
exist
speak on
anymore.
the second life? Can you speak
yeah.
on that?
Yes. Yeah. So I realized that I had the opportunity to build a second life, but that means that there is two lives. So which is the first one? What's the second one?
Mm.
Um, let's talk about the first one. The first
Yeah.
one, you don't choose it.
Mm.
You don't choose to be born. You just appear. You don't choose your parents. You don't choose the country you were born in, and everything that happens to you in the first few years. You're born. You can't really think for yourself. You just have a lot of inputs and no processing of that input. So everything you take is absorbed and it kind of shapes you. And as you grow, there's different things that happen. First, it's who helps you, who takes care of you, your caretakers, parents, family, whatever the case may be. Then there's school, the culture, religion, whatever you were brought up in, and then you have uh, other layers of that, which is overall like the society and what society wants you to be. If you're a man in a certain area, like boys don't cry, or just like there's so many things that are implemented, and then you have other people, and not just other people, but other people's projections that also influence and shape who you are and have you build this first life. And the first life, for me, is basically the life that you didn't choose. You were just like, here you go, live that life. The second life,
Here you go.
it's just,
It's
but
on a platter. Here you go.
but
That's your first life.
yeah, exactly. The problem is that you really don't have a choice because by the time everything has been given to you, like all these ideologies and thoughts and who to be and how society functions and et cetera, et cetera. You weren't able to have judgment on that because you were too young to formulate your own opinion. So you really have zero choice on what happens and how you're shaped. But eventually you're able to realize, wait, I can probably change all these things. Like they're not. I was not born with them, just like I was not born introverted or yeah, I came to the realization that I can remove every single layer that is not who I was as I was born, like the day I was born. And so I really went deeper and deeper and deeper on that. And then I brought it down to, almost zero. And then you're able to rebuild whatever you want. And then you can architect your second life or your existence. So with a clean slate, okay, who do I want to be? Be whoever I want. Like there's other people and things that shaped me before in my first life. Now I get to kill that version completely, and I choose exactly my character, who I want to be, and you write it down, and you decide. You decide
your identity. You
yeah,
did
yeah, and you can do that over and over again. It's a really fun thing, but at least one,
Wow, you can just change the
yeah,
identities.
you can.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fascinating. All it is RAS training and predictive coding and things like that. And you do it. I do it personally through writing, and I have this like specific protocol that I help people go through to get rid of all of these beliefs, and you start with it starts actually with having nuclear clarity on the things that you hate in your life, because most people never do the real inventory because it's hard to see. And then, with that, after there's a bunch of exercises, but ultimately you get to the point where it's a daily writing exercise that trains your reticular activating system and the predictive coding. And there's 4 pages every day, and it's this complicated, not really complicated thing, but that you choose that identity, and you have it, you embody it super, super quickly. So much so that just whoever you choose to be or where you want to go, like things happen extremely fast.
Damn, I gotta do this. Damn.
Yeah, no, it's super interesting.
Damn.
Yeah.
So can I do that? Use these protocols and techniques, and just get on Joe Rogan's podcast, like really quickly? No, actually, I'm not ready. But within 6 months, you think if I like write down?
I can't tell you. Like only you can. Like there's no way of predicting the future. This is just like a way. This is a way to. Number one, get the clarity on what exactly you want and who you want to be. Number two, determine who that is. And number three, collapse time, right? Because it's a tool to physically and mentally place yourself between the present and the future. You place yourself in the middle. So much so that it's reinforced by the way it's written. So it's 4 pages every day. So every day you're going to have 2 pages from the front to back, and 2 pages that each page serves a different function, right? And 2 pages back to front. And the idea is that eventually they meet at the middle. And when they meet at the middle, it's like it's your future and your present self that finally touch, and you're working towards that every day. And I'll just give you a quick example. Like the first page is the architect page, is just for you to put yourself in that state of a day. You're reciting a day that you had in the future, right? But you're writing it in the past. So you've experienced that day. And so you put as much detail as you can. The whole point is to embody it, because once you can embody things, like the nervous system can't really tell the difference if it's actually happening or if it's just in your head. If it's imagined strongly enough, it's the same thing for the body. And so as much detail as you can. And, sometimes the way I started to do this was I really want to go to a tropical place, and I imagine myself in this villa, and I wake up and I describe the sheets and how the sheets feel, and the wind, how the wind feels. Is there someone next to me? Do I smell coffee brewing? Is there someone making coffee? Like how's the floor? Just as much as possible, because then you want to, like, I read it a couple times, and then I close my eyes and I really try to actually embody it even more, just to get in that state of me as my future self, but like to feel it today. Because then once you're in that state, then you flip it over, and then there's a couple other things that you can do. Usually there's 3 things that you, as that future state, will know what is important to do today. And they have to be things that are manageable today. It can't be a big project like write a book. It's things that this person would do, and because you're in that, you have embodied that state. And there's an idea page, and then there's when you go back and you log in all the evidence, and the evidence is really important as synchronicities or things start to happen, because that's reinforcing the RES, and like, oh yes, this is what we chose to filter in, and now we have evidence of this coming in. And the more you do it every day, like it's a snowball thing. It just compounds. So that's how we do it with writing. Fun.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Go ahead, Cisco. You had something?
Did you get that from psychocybernetics? Because that's similar to self-image. You practice visualization so that your nervous system starts stacking experiences, because it can't tell the difference between imagined and reality. I guess sometimes I even struggle with what I want to visualize, because everything still feels so inherited. Like, do I want tropical?
What do I exactly?
I'm like, this chick keeps like, I don't even know.
Yeah, because and this is why there's a lot of prerequisite work to do before you can get to that daily writing. And this is why I started. It starts with to see how misaligned you are, and then you have to write things like your hate list, like the things I talked about. You have to get clarity. This is what worked for me. I don't know if it's the optimal solution, but that was the process that got me out of this. To get clarity on the things I wanted, I had to get nuclear clarity on the things I hated. Because if you don't, then you don't know what you have to avoid. And so once I had all of these parameters of the things I did not want to do or stay away from, then I just start living within that bubble, and then things just appear. Like I just do the non-wrong things, and by doing that, I'm going to find the things that are right for me. It doesn't. I don't know if that makes sense. But first, you have to get clarity, and you have to have these. You just have to have clarity on the things that you really can't tolerate, but that we tolerate because we don't want to think about them. And that makes us depressed. That's how we feel misaligned, because we're doing things that the body knows we're not supposed to do, we're not enjoying. But the mind says it's okay to do that. Like it's okay to stay in that job or that career, like whatever it is. Like the brain creates stories, but the body knows. Like you can't bullshit the body. So when you say misalignment, that's like the misalignment is when the stories that you're telling yourself and what you're actually feeling. You know you're lying to yourself. You just never get to the bottom of it.
Right. Hey, so you think that's connected to authenticity? Because I've been thinking a lot about authenticity, and I feel like authenticity is that. It is the process, it's the compass of trying to get back into alignment. So the more authentic you are, you know what I mean? Like you're able to better get to that alignment, right? So how is that connected? What do you think? Because there's a lot of discussion about authenticity. What is it? Blah, blah, blah. It's a verb, not a noun, probably, right? Authenticity.
Yeah, I think it's crazy it's absolutely crazy when you think about it, that most of us have to do a lot of work to become authentic. It's a mind fuck,
Yeah.
Like, why is it so complicated for us to be ourselves when that should be the most obvious and natural way to be?
Damn, that's true.
But this is because all the conditioning that happened, and then the things that, and the story that we tell ourselves, and the life that we continue, and because we don't like the life that we live, and it's so hard to change because we're on the fast moving train, we create stories to say, no, this train's fine, that the destination is okay. It's not precisely what I wanted, but I don't have to think about it. And so we just add masks and layers, and we just add a bunch of stuff. My second life, or the way I define my second life, is a process of removal. It's removal of, your previous identity. It's removal of your belief systems. I go as far as picking random words and revisiting what do they mean to me today, and is it still accurate? Because the words that we use are super powerful. The word surrender for me had a very negative connotation, because when I learned it, I realized that words, there's two different definitions. There's definition that you can find in the dictionary, right? This means this. But usually what the words mean to us is very different. It's the word and the how you felt at the time that you heard it the first few times in your life, like repeatedly, and it created this strong emotional thing inside of you. That's how we remember things, That's why when you work on memory and stuff, like you want to create stories, and because it's through remembering things that make you feel something that the memory sticks. But anyway, so the word surrender, I learned it in school and in history class, and I didn't like history class. I didn't like school in general, but history class was one of the worst ones. I don't know why. I do why, but I won't talk about it today. And the surrender was these guys giving up, like the white flag, like we lost. Surrendering was just bad, and so I avoided that work, and I just rediscovered it to look at the actual definition and like, am I using this word correctly? And then it's one of my favorite words now. It's such a beautiful thing. Surrendering, letting go, like accepting that uncertainty is something that you need.
Surrender to uncertainty. I say that all the time.
Right, it's all these things, right? And so just like revisiting this too, but like removing, there's this process of removal, because the first part of life, or the first life, we keep adding things that make us introverted. that make us, oh, I'm bad at math, or like whatever the case may be, like all of it that make us get jobs that we don't like, that make us stay in cities that we know we don't belong to, stay in relationships for 20 years too long. There's a lot of things,
That's
but
so
it's
sad, bro.
easier to not have to remove these things and to stay comfortable. Like it takes a lot of work. It's painful, like to change your life, change your identity.
Yeah.
And most people are not going to do it. But the thing is that everyone at some point will be on their deathbed, right?
Mm.
And everyone's going to have that same question. What did I think about my life? And I don't want to wait to physically be on my deathbed to ask myself this question. That's why I asked my question. We started with this about an hour ago. This was one of the questions that I asked before completely shutting down the company, which was if I'm about to die tomorrow, will I feel like my life was worth it?
I remember that. That
I
was
was like, no.
powerful, bro. Yeah, he
Yeah.
said no, bro. His answer was no.
Yeah. And initially, so that was at the beginning of ChatGPT, but at the time I developed this little tool where I created a 90-year-old version of myself, which was like this grumpy guy that didn't give a fuck and always had the answers and well, not the answers, but like
Yeah,
just a
grumpy
perspective
fuck.
on my life. And anytime I
You're
had
being
questions or I had doubt, you just talk shit. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, obviously,
That's amazing.
yeah,
Get
I like
amazing.
that.
yeah. So it's like that.
Amazing. Hey, but Benoit, so we got we got to shut down in 13 minutes. Cisco, what do you think? You think we go with his Benoit's most viral video, which is very interesting. We can spend the rest of the time, or we go with the eternal loop question because he actually has certain perspective on that. I saw in his article. So which one? You choose.
Ooh. Why not both?
Okay,
If he has time, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll run over. Why am I in this rush right now? Okay, hold on. We're all having fun. Let's just end with two more topics, but let's
Okay.
go over Benoit, your most viral video. Tell us how you felt when that went viral. Like, what was your emotions? Because there was like 2 million views, got a lot of comments. It really made me think. I watched it like 3, 4, 5 times. And I was like
Yeah.
taking notes and stuff. But tell us about the video because let me just start off with the thing. It says, here's how it starts. Watch what happens to people the second they feel wanted. The quiet guy becomes funny. The detached girl suddenly starts posting softer pictures. The intellectual pretends he doesn't care about labels anymore because someone touched his arm at a party once. People literally change accents depending on who they're attracted to. You think your personality is stable? Please. The human brain is a sexual adaptation machine with a LinkedIn account. Bro, you have a lot of LinkedIn jokes. What's up with you and LinkedIn, bro?
I hate LinkedIn. Sometimes I post really on LinkedIn. Usually when I post on LinkedIn, I just post, I still hate LinkedIn. See you in 2 months.
I agree, man.
But tell us about that. So this continue. I won't read the whole thing, but what's interesting to me about this whole thing, Cisco's pretty fire, right? Like the beginning part, right? Like the thing that was like very interesting is I never thought about it, but it really you're boiling down everything to like our need to be desired and belong and right? Like that was amazing, right? And
Yeah.
and you were saying like that's why lust is so bad in like a lot of spiritual traditions, right? Because it changes your identity.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. Yeah, I think the overall, like the final sentence was something like desire reorganizes identity. I think it started with just as they all do, like something that I've experienced or that I had experienced, which was why am I being two different people in front of two different women that I was trying to conquer or talk to or whatever the case may be. I forgot exactly when it was or what it was, but I noticed myself changing. The accent is a true thing. Like I realized that I had a different voice when I spoke Spanish than I did English, and because in English I was a lot more confident because I had the business, with this language, and Spanish I didn't have anything, and my voice was actually higher. Not even the accent was changing, but and And so you appear as someone different, but you become someone different. And so I wanted to see and kind of push it to know why, how much of the underlying patterns or the invisible patterns that make us do things that we don't necessarily realize. I like to study them and uncover them. Uh, so that was a research on that, and I don't know, filmed it in a way. Well, it's not really filmed. I just put a bunch of clips together. Actually, it went really well. Fun fact: the actual hook was not that. Because I posted two different versions. I think the initial hook was your personality changes based on who wants to fuck you, something like that. That was my initial thing,
That didn't
and
do well.
somehow
That
like
should have didn't
it
do
didn't.
well.
It didn't.
Really?
I posted both of them as like a trial reel,
Oh wow,
and the second
cool.
one was just getting more traction. So I picked this one, and then
Wow.
yeah. But I enjoy these. I enjoy these types of reels because it's both entertaining to watch, but I
Hmm.
don't do it to be watched. But it's more of an exercise for me to condense a really deep idea and in such a short like time frame. Like you really don't have a lot. You can talk
Yeah.
fast, you can do
Hmm.
short sentences, and you can but there's so much you can say in under 90 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love the exercise of. I mean, I enjoy writing, but it's an added level of difficulty. And then when it really strikes a chord, like I love it. I don't know. This is why I'm really keen on not reading other people's books and ideas in general. Is because I can generate my own. And like we said earlier, I don't know if the information in that video is truly new. It's the way in which it was said with
Hmm.
my personal lived experience that was so specifically accurate with the
Mm.
examples that might or not might have been my own experience, like
Hmm.
the guy getting his arm touched at a party, right? Or
Hmm.
listening to the podcast. And so it makes it like it just makes it relatable and maybe the defenses are low and people get it and they
But you know
understand.
what's interesting? That like the thing is, the whole message is here: desire reorganizes identity. The ancient religions understood this better than modern psychology does. That's why so many spiritual traditions fear lust, and
Yeah.
and so this whole idea, Buddhist idea. I've been learning about Buddhist ideas. This whole idea of no desire, right? Like you always fear that, like try to detach, right?
Right.
And I never really truly understood it until I watched your video, bro. This is what
Mm.
I'm saying. This is the power of
Yeah,
your
well, yeah,
perspective,
I
right?
think desire is important. It's one of these things that you can't remove. Like or unless you literally like pop. I mean, you would still have desires, but
All
it's just
right.
we
You
talked
can't
about the
avoid
two
it.
different kind of problems to solve, right? This would go in the second category where you can't solve it, you can't get rid of it.
Like the meaning of
You
life,
see
bro.
where
I'm
you,
learning.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You just see where how you engineer it into your own experience of this reality. So it's interesting to see, but it's just a subset of the identity that we have, or the personality is so malleable. It's just one specific example that is very. I think it struck a chord because it showed. If you say, "Are you right?" You can change your identity. Okay, people don't really feel much. But once people remember how stupid or they acted in front of someone just to, be able to talk to a girl or a guy or like just it
Yeah.
becomes very vivid in their mind. And now
Visceral.
they're able to associate the bigger idea of like identity is something that you can change is, and you start to question, oh, I'm like, maybe there are other things that are shaping the way I am today. It just creates this, like, it plants a seed, right? Because I think there's a very important thing that I am highly conscious of is so we have once you have an identity, you also have ego, and the ego's job, in my opinion, is to protect that identity. And there's different ways of this is why for me questions are so powerful, and
Mm.
I'll often have questions whether they're direct or indirect questions Because to find a way to transfer information from one mind to another, you're going to have this filter of the person sitting in front of you with their ego that's going to try to
Mm-hmm.
protect who they currently are. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The ego is doing that job. It's right to do its job, but you have to find a way. And questions are a great way of doing that, where it
Mm.
tells the ego like you're good. You don't have to. We don't have anything to defend because we're not threatened right now. And once you're able to do that, then you can plant some seeds and ideas and information that was otherwise complicated to get across.
Mm. Interesting. Bro, but like it was interesting. One thing here before we move on to, because you said here, people will betray values, friendships, ambitions, and entire belief systems just to continue feeling desired. Damn, that really hits, you know?
Yeah,
Like, what
and
do we do to just feel desired, bro? Man, it's like the hierarchy of needs, right? Like you got food, safety, all that survival shit, and then the literally the you know, it's love and belonging, right? But
right.
woo, everything is around that, bro. Like once you got the food and the survival, we just want to be loved and belong. You know, like it's so simple, bro. Like wow.
You also want to feel like you matter,
Mm,
which is a deeper level, in my opinion. And the reason that is, and why it's hard for people. When a long time ago we lived in small tribes,
hmm
maybe 20 or 40 people, and every person in that tribe was part of the dependency of the survival of the whole tribe. So you had importance, you mattered. You
mm,
physically, your existence mattered for their survival, just like they did to you. We don't have that anymore. Like we don't live in tribes of 20, and we don't feel like we're important if we actually matter for their survival of other people. Even if you live with someone that, we have all these things that were tied to survival. We kind of kept that genetically, or these things that are deeply
mm,
ingrained, but
mm,
we put a new meaning to them, which is, and now usually it's like fear of being alone, and all these core things.
hmm
We think we're actually going to die, which we're not. And just
hmm
because we attach a new meaning to it, because the sensation or the feeling is still here, but now the brain has to create a story in order for to justify feeling the thing. And since you're not constantly chased by a lion, or a bison or whatever, then your mind has to come up with a story of why are we feeling that. Um, but yeah, fascinating stuff.
Oh, damn. Damn. Cisco, you have anything before we move on to Eternal Law? Damn.
No, I think we can land the plane with Eternal.
Yeah. So, Benoit, it's very interesting. I forget which article or where you said that. There's just so much sauce in there. But, like, we like asking our guests the final question, which we call the eternal loop question, right? But you're going to recognize it because you had, like, a variation of this in your articles too.
Okay.
So for you, and we can discuss it, but for you, like what is the one moment or experience that you would relive eternally on a loop? And the assumption is that, you're going to be happy with this choice and you're never going to get tired of it. So you're not going to even know you're in the loop. Time is there's no even time, right? You're in this eternal loop. What would you choose?
Okay, so just so I understand correctly, so it would be a moment in time, and it could be like an hour, or it could be a day.
Yeah, like an
It doesn't matter.
experience. Yeah, experience. You
But
can call it experience.
I would be stuck in a loop
Mhm.
without knowing that I'm stuck in a loop. So I wouldn't have,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, but
But
you
I
would be
would just, okay.
the happiest ever. Like, yeah,
Oh,
it's
but
yeah. Hmm.
it would probably be easier, like if I said, if let's say you had a double, in a parallel universe, and which one? Because I want to be stuck in the loop. But like if I had like my
A guinea
But you
pig.
a
wouldn't
double of
know.
me, what would you wish for him? Okay, uh, how sexual can we get?
Yeah, you can
I'm
get
just
us.
kidding.
This is
Let's
let's
go.
go. Let's go sexual. We've never done this in Bible. You go as sexual as you want. It's just
I just wanted to
five
hear your
women.
guys' reaction.
Oh, that was good. That was good. That was a pattern interrupt right there, bro. Oh, damn.
Let me
Okay,
think.
go.
Gosh,
Good question, right? Though. Good question.
it's,
No
it's a
bad.
good question, but it's like it's super hard for me. It's hard for me to pick a number one or pick a favorite. Like I've always
Just
had an issue with that.
yeah, just pick whatever. Top, say it's top five. One of the top five. Yeah, whatever comes to mind. Yeah.
Uh, I don't know, man. I
Isn't
guess.
that interesting? Like that you don't see, it's very interesting to me too. Like, yes, we all have like amazing experiences, but like choosing the one. And it's so interesting because everybody's answer is different. And this is how it ties to what you were saying. In one of your questions, you're like, think of a time when you weren't trying to be someone, but you were
Mhm.
just being. You were just being the verb noun thing, right? Like, and when
Yeah.
I look at all the answers to the eternal loop question, it's always verbs, bro. It's always verbs. Like I was in the hanging out with my grandmother. I'm lying down on the grass while my grandmother's talking, and then we go grab some lunch with the family, and the whole family's sleeping because they're like fucking ate too much, right? And then we go get some ice cream. And one person just painted that picture of like a day. That's her loop. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's all
Right.
verbs. So anyway, like it really like, and some people pick jogging. Some people pick, the moment that a mother say the moment that the baby was born and they were holding on their arms, they would put that in the loop, the feeling of connection and belonging, right? So to me, that question really boils down to like, what do you at the core value, right? And it's different for everybody. Like for me, my loop is this vibe sesh. This is my loop. I can do these kinds of conversations forever. I'm ready to press that button on the loop. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's the weirdest thing because, like I told you, the thing I really enjoy the most and that I can do for hours and hours at a time is just sitting, doing nothing but thinking.
There you go. That's
And
your loop. That's
yeah,
your loop.
yeah.
Hello. Oh,
Hey,
I was
oh
scared.
wow. She said BTC, bro. I think she owns BTC. Her last name was Christine on BTC. Bitcoin. No? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, but isn't that incredible? So, because it's very interesting because a lot of times, like I've talked to a lot of dads, and I would have thought they would have said something about children, but a lot of them don't. Like one guy, like he had some issues with stress and he discovered the mind body connection and he
uh-huh.
realized, like, oh, it's important to, take care of himself. And so, like, he found jogging. And he's like, every time I jog 30 minutes a day, I'm like, I can hear my heartbeat. I can feel my breath coming out. You know what I'm like? Like he's so connected. And he was like, I'd be in this loop forever. Right. Another guy was like, I used to play football when I was 26, and that locker room moment before the game when everybody's nervous and they're ready to like it's both collaboration and competition. It was like brotherhood and everybody has a
Yeah.
different loop, man. It's
I think
interesting.
the at the bottom of all these answers, the common theme seems to be the moment where you're not thinking about the past or the future. It doesn't matter what it is, where you are, what you're doing. You're just like one of these moments where you're actually present. And it clicked for
And
me when the guy was running because you mentioned the specificity of him recollecting his breathing, which is a very specific thing to want someone else or your own self to do for eternity, you know? And so the fact that he
that
enjoyed
is
that meant
interesting.
it was
Yeah.
important. And the fact that he was conscious of his breathing made me think that, oh, that's him actually being present. And then all the examples like had the same similarities. So I think it's really being present. Like, yeah, so and which also works with my answer because the more present moments I experience is when I'm just sitting thinking. That's where I feel most alive. So
No, the best vibe
All the
sesh
negatives.
ever. Cisco, do you have any questions for this man? This guy
No,
was
I
damn.
appreciate the
oh,
wisdom
you,
tonight.
you know what's crazy and also depressing a little bit, but it's kind of fun. So we all searched for how to be in the present moment, right?
Hmm.
Which is true, but there is no such thing as the present moment. It is physically impossible for
Mm,
neither one of us to experience the present moment. By the time we are able to process the information and be aware of it, like
It's
no
already
past.
past.
Yeah, right? It's like it is strange. Huh?
Damn,
That's
this is very...
trippy. Yeah.
We can't even experience the present. I think I'm gonna do a post vibe high
right there.
videos, bro. Wait, you can pass. You can't. Wait, say it one more time. You can't. We're never living in the present, bro.
It's physically impossible to experience what we call like to say right now is the present moment. No, because by the time you're able to say it or think it or even just have the
Wait, no,
reality
but the
structured
thing
in your
is,
mind,
something is present, but we're just not conscious of it, right? Because if you think of time, you know what I'm
correct.
saying?
But it's
That's
not like
weird.
you and having yes, like it can never be. It's a little. There's a little mismatch. So you're always truly experiencing a few milliseconds in the past. There's never a true perfect moment.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Unless we find a way to upgrade the fiber optics in there or something. I don't know. Maybe Elon Musk will figure it out.
Flomo, do you have any? Hey, how are you?
Hey.
Hey, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on. This is amazing. I saw your post recently, and I was like, I've never felt more seen in my life, that intellectual omnivore thing. And I was like, holy cow.
Damn, welcome. This is
That
a
hit me hard.
stage full of omnivores right here. What do you think?
I loved it. I love the conversation. I mean, the sharing of the present moment, like, kind of reminds me of like rules of relativity. We can never actually like be part of the act. We can't share the exact same present ever. Even if we're standing at the same exact point on Earth, we'll just the distances, like we can never actually experience those things at the same time or in the same way. So kind of interesting. You're kind of talking about like being sort of aware of the present, and by the time you've thought about it, it's already passed. Interesting take on it, for sure.
Was that new for you? Because it blew my mind today.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
Right.
Actually, not to take it too far, but it reminds me of like, it's pretty nerdy, but it's like if you actually could freeze time, you would be blind, you would die, you would suffocate, like, because everything takes time to process. Like air has to be like moving for you to breathe it, you know. All that. So I don't know, it kind of reminds me of that same thing. That's more of like a comic book thing, but nonetheless.
Unbelievable. Hey, do you have any question for Benoit? What did you? Any other questions?
No, just wanted to pipe in and say thank you for that post, and thanks for the discussion, I guess. But
that's awesome.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. So hey, Benoit, amazing special guest. He left. Okay.
Oh.
Hey, brother, amazing.
Hey, thank you, guys.
It was awesome, bro. We'll keep in touch. Yeah. For sure. And yeah, let's go, guys. So we'll see you guys on next Wednesday. We got a special guest. It's gonna be amazing as well. All right, guys. Good night. Peace.
Thanks.